us to gather together in your name. We pray everything that's said and done here will bring honor and glory to your name. Help us to understand the words that are in your scriptures in such a way that we might apply them to our lives, so we might better serve you, to be the example that you'd have us to be. We pray that you'd bless your church, help us to grow and prosper and be everything that you'd have us to be. We pray that you'd help us to be the example that you'd have us to be to our friends and our contacts, that they'd want to see Christ living in their lives as he is in ours. We pray, dear God, that you'll be with those that are sick, that can't be with us this evening, and we pray that you would be with all of those that are in need of your help. We pray that you would strengthen them, that you'd heal them and help them to be back with us as soon as possible. We pray, dear God, you'd be with us through the rest of this series of studies, and that you'll help me as a teacher to be able to give your word in such a manner that it would be easily understood and we can apply it to our lives. These things we pray in Christ Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Okay. Then 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, who had been dead and whom he had raised from the dead. And they had made a supper for him, and Martha had served. But Lazarus was one of those who sat at the table with him. Okay, just to give you a little background on it, John seems to overlook a series of things that happened as Jesus came in to celebrate the Passover, because I also have in my notes that Jesus cleansed 10 lepers, blessed some little children, healed 2 blind men near Jericho, spoke with numerous parables, delivered several sermons, and arrived in Bethany on Friday evening, 6 days before the Passover. Okay, I don't know why John left that out of his scriptures, but anyway, all those things happened before Jesus got here to celebrate this feast with Lazarus. Okay. We'll carry on. He came to Bethany, where Lazarus, who had been dead, whom he had raised up from the dead, and made him a supper. And Martha served Lazarus, was one of those who sat at the table with him, and Mary took a pound of very costly oil of spikenard and anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the fragrance. Okay, and one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, who would betray him, said, "Why was this fragrant oil not sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor?" And he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief, and he had the money box, and he used to take what was put into it. But Jesus said alone, Jesus said, "Let her alone. She has kept this for the day of my burial. For the poor you have with you always, but with me you do not have always." Okay, here Jesus got to this feast that they were going to have, and Mary had saved this oil to be able to dedicate it to Christ. And the oil was very expensive, and it was described as being in a jar that was very expensive, and the neck had to be broken to let the contents out. And she used this to anoint Christ. Now, in this section, it says they anointed his feet. She washed his feet, and then she used her hair to dry it. But another section that says she also anointed his head and his feet. So in this particular case, I don't know which one is right, but probably it was both his head and his feet. But Judas, of course, interrupts, and he says, why in the world did she spend all this money and take this costly perfume and waste it? That's what he said in his own heart. He wasted it on Jesus to anoint his feet, his feet, when she could have sold that and taken that money and given it to the poor. Now, we're told in other places that the other apostles there at the dinner also agreed with Judas. So it wasn't just him that believed this. The other apostles also believed this. But then Jesus, of course, quickly answers and said, let her alone. She has kept this for the day of my burial. For the poor you have with you always, but me you do not have always. You had a question.
Yes, the way we read the Bible is two different times when he was anointed. It's the one here by Mary, the sister of Lazarus, and Martha. But there's the time earlier where he was anointed by the sinful woman.
By what?
By the sinful woman, a separate time when he was anointed.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, that's earlier. It talks about a sinful woman because it talks about both times it happened where there was the man Simon there. The one incident, it was Simon the Pharisee. The other incident, it was Simon the leper.
Okay, Simon the leper is probably the one that's responsible for this particular feast. They were probably at Simon's house rather than at Lazarus' house. Because they were Martha. Okay, Martha was also Martha and Lazarus. One of the two of them was apparently related to Simon. Okay, so they believe that, or the author that I was reading believes that the feast was at his house rather than Lazarus' house. So it could be very well that it talks about Jesus at his house being anointed in the head and also the feet. But there's different scriptures that describe the same incident, and they say anointed his head as well as his feet. So I don't know.
Two different times when he was anointed, two different incidents.
I don't know. Could be the same. Could be the same incident. You mean because you're relating it to the house that they were in?
No. It's the only thing it says that both times it was in the house of someone named Simon, but one time it says Simon the leper. One incident, the other house it's Simon the Pharisee. Mark chapter 14.
Well, this is Simon the leper.
Mark chapter 14.
We're talking about.
Where the woman and leper anointed Jesus.
Okay. And it doesn't say it was Mary?
It says here, starting at verse 1, now the Passover unleavened bread was 3 days old. The chief priests and scribes were seeking how to seize him and still if they kill him. For they were saying, not during the festival, lest there be a riot of the people. And while he was in Bethany, at the home of Simon the leper, and reclining at the table, there came a woman with an alabaster vial and very costly perfume, pure nard, and she broke the vial and poured it over his head. And then it says, but some were indignant, remarking one to another, why is this perfume being wasted? This juice might have been sold for 300
Is that what was said at this occasion?
It is no special occasion, it was just before the feast.
Okay.
Passover.
Okay, but was this the same occasion that Jesus rebuked them for saying something about him?
Well, later on in the scripture, it's Mark chapter 14 is where the other incident took place.
Okay, well, we'll just skip that over right now. If you believe it's two different times, then you believe it's two different times. I believe it was the same Simon the leper at the house that they were at when Lazarus was at him, and Mary was there, and her sister was there. And Mary took the precious oil and broke it and anointed Jesus' feet. That's the one we're talking about. Now, if there's another one, you got me.
It was the same time, but when you investigate it, you read it, it is two different times. That's why I say I used to think, just making an assumption, we all think, oh, the perfume was broke and all that. We know that actually what happened, but you read the details, it's two different incidents when it happened.
I'm not sure of that, but anyway, we'll just leave it at that. Okay. So, but one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, we've got that, who would betray him. Why was this fragrant oil sold? Why was it not sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor? And he said that he cared for the poor because he was a thief, and that he had money box, and he used to take it, what was put into it. Well, when he said he'd take it, he had free access to the treasury. He was apparently the treasurer. He carried the money box along with him. But Jesus told him to let her alone. I don't know what was said to the other woman that anointed his head and his feet. Maybe Jesus wasn't there at that particular time. Well, it says he anointed his feet. But this is what Jesus said This is what Jesus said to him. He said, let her alone. And she kept this for the day of my burial. For the poor you have with you always, but for me you do not have always. Okay? So now a great many of the Jews knew that he was there, and they came for Jesus, not only that they might see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead, but the chief priests plotted to put Lazarus to death also because of the account of the many Jews that went away and believed in Jesus. So the Pharisees were there plotting against Christ on all the occasions that they could. In this particular occasion, they saw an opportunity that Jesus was eating at this place and that Lazarus would be there also. And they not only wanted to plot against Jesus, they wanted to kill Lazarus because all the people were going to Jesus, and Lazarus' death, because of the account of many of the Jews, went away believing in Jesus because of his miracle. And the next day, the miracle that had come to the feast, and they heard Jesus was coming to Jerusalem. And they took branches of the palm trees and went out to meet him and cried out, Hosanna! Blessed is he that comes in the name of the Lord, King of Israel. And when Jesus had found a young donkey and sat on it, it is written, Fear not, daughter of Zion, behold your king is coming, sitting on a donkey colt. I don't know exactly where he got that donkey, but I was told it was a donkey that had never been ridden on before. I do know that. Okay, it might be in two different occasions, but it's a donkey, okay? His disciples did not understand these things at first, but then Jesus was glorified. When Jesus was glorified, then they remembered these things which were written about him, and that they had done these things to him. Therefore the people who were with him, when he called Lazarus out of the tomb and raised him from the dead, bore witness for him. For this reason, people also met him because he had heard what had been done, this sign. The Pharisees therefore said among themselves, You see that you are accomplishing nothing, that the whole world has gone after him. So the Pharisees are all upset. They're saying, regardless of what we do to discredit Christ, when he raised Lazarus from the dead, all these people are following and recognizing him as being the Messiah. And they're saying, Hosanna, praise be unto him, our King. And for that reason, they said, we got to get rid of Lazarus, and that'll get rid of the reason that they're praising him, and then we can discredit Christ once we get rid of him. So the evil just seeps through their very being. And there were certain Greeks among those who came up to worship at the feast, and they came up to Philip, who was from Bethsaida of Galilee, and said, "Sir, we wish to see Jesus." Philip came and told Andrew, and in turn Andrew and Philip told Jesus. But he answered them, saying, "The hour has come that the Son of Man should be glorified. Most assuredly I say unto you, unless a grain of wheat that falls to the ground and dies and remains alone, but if it dies, it will produce again, much again. And he who loves his life will lose it, and he who hates his life in this world will keep it for eternal life. For if anyone serves me, let him follow me, and who I am, therefore my servant will be also. If anyone serves me, him my Father will also honor." Okay, what is this about the wheat? If he takes a grain of wheat, falls to the ground and dies, it remains alone, but it dies and then it produces much gain. What's he talking about?
Talking about his death. He has to go to the cross in order for what he came to establish comes to being.
Okay,
That the fruit that comes from his death has to be buried in the ground in order for it to
spring forth
spring forth and bear fruit.
and bear much fruit. What is the bearing fruit? What are the fruits of that wheat?
The church.
The church, okay. So the fruit, after Christ dies and he's resurrected from the dead, the fruit that will come forth is more Christians, because they're going to believe that he is the Messiah, that he died for the sins of all mankind, and when it's preached on the day of Pentecost, many more would be converted to Christ and come to him. So that will be the fruitation, or the thing that happens after the wheat germinates, or after Christ dies and is resurrected from the dead. It's an example that's from the germination of the seed, that Christ is comparing himself to go to the grave, and then coming back from the grave, he's going to produce many more of the same love of God that he had. Okay, and then he goes on to say, he dies, he remains alone, but if he dies, he produces much grain, and when he is resurrected. He who loves his life will lose it, and he who hates his life in this world will keep it for eternal life. If anyone serves me, let him follow me, and where I am, there may my servant will be also. If anyone serves me, him my Father will honor. Okay. If anyone serves him and follows me, he will be where I am. What does it mean by that? How will he be where he is? Yes.
Yes, he's compared to the seed a lot of times, just like when it talks about the farmer spreading the good seed all around, on the path, on the rocks, on the thorns, good soil. He's compared to the seed many times.
Okay, right. He does. Now he's talking about those who would follow him will lose his life in this world, will keep it for eternal life. How does he lose his life? He who loves his life will lose it, and he who hates his life in this world will keep it for eternal life. How does he lose his life in this world?
You mean lose your physical life?
His worldly life.
By becoming part of the world.
Okay, right. His spiritual life. How does he lose his spiritual life in this world? Who hates his life when he repents of his sins. He hates his life because he recognizes he is sinful. And will keep it for eternal life because he repents of that sins and he follows Christ. And if anyone serves me and follows Christ, let him follow me, and where I am, here will my servants be also. Okay. His servant is us, following him and doing the things that he tells us to do, and that's our new life in Christ. It's no longer I live, it's Christ that liveth in me. That's what we say after we've been baptized and received by Christ into his body. And therefore, where I am, my servant will be also. Where he is, by following his word being in our heart, will always be with us. So Christ is with us. And we can say, it's no longer I live, it's Christ that liveth in me. So my servant will be also, and if anyone serves me, him and my Father will honor. How does him and the Father honor us? By being in us through his Spirit, through this Holy Spirit. Now my soul is troubled. And what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. But for this purpose I came this hour. Father, glorify your name. Why is Jesus saying this? His soul is troubled. Why is his soul troubled? Because he knows he's going to the cross. He knows he's going to die. He's got a human fleshly body. That human fleshly body does not want to die. Okay? Father, save me from this hour. Now he says that. My body, my human body says, Father, save me. But he says, then he thinks again and he says, but for this purpose, to die for the sins of mankind, I came to this hour. Father, glorify your name. How will the Lord's name be glorified? By his death, his burial, and his resurrection. By obedience to God the Father and following his word and his purpose in going to the cross. Then a voice came from heaven saying, I have both glorified it and will glorify it again. Therefore the people who stood there heard it, and they and it had thundered. Others said an angel was spoken to him. Some people just says, oh, it was thunder. It was just a loud noise. And the other people say an angel spoke to him. They recognize it as being a voice from heaven, or from the sky. And Jesus said, this voice did not come because of me, but for your sake. I know my Father glorifies me and gives me honor and glory. He's saying it for your sake. Now is the judgment of this world. Now the ruler of this world will be cast out. And I, if I am lifted up from this earth, will draw all people to myself. Okay, what's he talking about? Who's the ruler of the world that's going to be cast out? Okay, Satan. Satan is the ruler of this world, and he will be cast out. His power will be cast out. He will no longer have a power over death, over Christians or anybody that receives Christ. We don't have to worry about the second death because we're saved through Christ Jesus and his blood. And for him going to the cross, he casts out the power of Satan. He casts him out. And if I am lifted up from the earth, if I'm crucified, if I go to the crucifixion and die, that will pay for the sins of mankind, and by doing that, he can draw all people unto himself. Okay, because he has this way of salvation through his death, his burial, and his resurrection. This, he said, signifying the death that he would die on the cross. And the people answered him and said, we have heard from the law that Christ will remain forever. How can you say the Son of Man must be lifted up? Who is the Son of Man? Well, who is the Son of Man? Jesus. But it's more than that. The Son of Man means Messiah. Whenever he uses that, I'm the Son of Man, I am the Messiah. And that's what it means. So when Jesus said unto them, a little while longer, the light is with you. Walk while you have the light, because darkness will overtake you. And he who walks in darkness does not know where he is going. While you have the light, believe in the light, that you may become sons of light. Who is the light? Jesus is the light. He is the light. He says, a little while longer you will have the light. You will have me as your light. Is with you as you're walking in the light while he is the light. Walk while you have the light, lest darkness overtake you. What is darkness that's going to overtake him? Sin. Sin. He who walks in darkness and sin does not know where he's going. A person that walks in sin, where is he going? We know where he's going. To hell. Eternal punishment. But he does not know where he's going as long as he is in the dark, because he can't see, because he doesn't have the light. While you have the light, believe in the light. Believe in me, the Messiah, that you may become sons of the light. How do they become sons of the light? By becoming Christians. We become sons of God by becoming Christians. We become part of his family. These things Jesus spoke and departed, and was hidden from them. But though he had done so many signs before them, they did not believe in him, and that the word of Isaiah the prophet might be fulfilled, which he spoke. Lord, who has believed of our report? And whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? Therefore they could not believe, because Isaiah said again, he has blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts, lest they should see with their eyes, and lest they should understand, and with their hearts turn, so that I might heal them. Who's he talking about? Who's the prophecy about? He's talking about the rejection of Christ Jesus by the world, by the Pharisees, by the leaders. Who has believed our report? They don't believe the report. And to whom the arm of the Lord has been revealed. That the arm of the Lord, the works of God, has been revealed. And they don't believe that, because they would not believe, because Isaiah said again, because he has blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts. Who blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts? Sin did, right? Sin through Satan. Lest they should see. Satan does not want them to see the light. He does not want them to see salvation. Lest they should see it with their eyes. Lest they should understand. If they followed Christ and listened to the light, they would see, and see in the light, they would understand. And if they did that with their hearts, they would turn and God would heal them. It's still true. They turn to Christ, listen to him, open their hearts, and turn to Christ, and he will heal them. How does he heal them? He heals them from sin. the sickness and the terribleness of sin, he heals them from. So these things says Isaiah, that when he saw his glory and spoke of him. Isaiah prophesied these things because he saw through the prophecy of Christ coming to earth and dying for the sins of mankind. He saw that they would refuse to believe Christ. He saw that many people would die in sin because they did not believe in him. But yet those that believed and followed him, God would heal them. These things Isaiah said when he saw his glory and spoke of him. Nevertheless, even among the rulers, many believed in him, but because of the Pharisees, they did not confess him, lest they should be put out of the synagogue. For they loved the praises of men more than the praises of God. It says, a lot of them believed that Jesus was the Christ, that he was the Messiah. Well, why didn't they confess that? Why didn't they say, yes, we believe in Jesus. We believe that he is. Why don't you guys, why didn't they it says why they didn't confess it. Why didn't they confess it?
They were worried. They liked the praise from men more than God.
Okay.
And the thing is, they're a lot like the parents of the blind guy when they were brought in.
Okay.
He was like, he's of age, asking to answer for himself. They were scared also of being kicked out of the synagogue.
Right. So this was a very big thing to them. That was being kicked out of the synagogue where they could worship God, and their salvation, they believed it would be through worshiping God, but not knowing that Jesus was God. If they saw Jesus, they saw God. Yes.
I hate to say it, but to me it seems a little bit like a comparison for us these days. If you're in the right, say the government comes after you and you stand up against them, even though you're in the right, and you stand up for yourself, you're standing up to someone that's powerful. Most people are scared of and don't want to stand up to. They'll just cower and go along with what they say, whether it's right or wrong.
Okay.
They'll just go ahead and do it, like, oh, just yes, 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 and do it.
Okay.
People are somewhat in that similar situation.
Okay. Well, this is very close to being a government, a ruling government. These Pharisees, they were the power, and they didn't want to be subject to being kicked out of the synagogue and the power being exerted against them. Then Jesus cried out and said, he who believes in me believes not in me, but in him who sent me, God. And he who sees me sees him. Sees me, then you see God, the Father, who sent me. I have come as the light unto the world, that whosoever believes in me should not abide in darkness. We just saw that. And if anyone hears my words and does not believe, I do not judge him, for I did not come to judge the world, but to save the world. He didn't come to throw everybody into hell and to judge them. He came to pay for their sins and to save them from eternal damnation. He who rejects me and does not receive my words, that which judges him. His words of salvation, if you don't receive it, those words are going to be your judgment. Because you say, you didn't receive the salvation from sin that was offered you by my words and by the light. The word that I have spoken will judge him in the last day. For I have not spoken on my own authority, but the Father who sent me, a command of what I should say and what I should speak. And I know that his command is everlasting life. Therefore, whatsoever I speak, just as the Father has told me, so I speak. And what I speak is the hope of everlasting life. Okay, that takes us through chapter 12, and we're going to go to 13, and maybe go a little faster. Now, before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come, that he should depart from this world, and the Father having loved his own who were in this world, he loved them to the end. And the supper being ended, and the devil having already put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him. Jesus knoweth that the Father had given him all things unto his hands, and that he had come from God and was going to God, rose from the supper, lay aside his garments, took a towel, girded it around himself, and after he had poured water into a basin, he began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel which he was girded. Okay, the apostles, when they came in, and they'd been walking on the roads, and all the thousands of people had been walking on these same roads full of dust and everything, their feet were probably filthy. They were filthy. So when they came in, the way the tables were set, and they didn't scoot under them like we do a table today. They laid down, put their left arm up, and leaned on, and then they sopped their food or ate their food out of the table, off the table that was in front of them. And the next apostle next to them would lay down, and their feet would be, and all their feet were going out towards the floor. All the stinky feet were all out there, and nobody had taken the time to say, "Let me wash your feet." Usually, a lot of times, there's somebody there, a servant or somebody that's there with a basin of water that would clean and wash their feet. But nobody would do it, and everybody laid down to just go ahead and eat their meal, and nobody was going to clean anybody's feet. Well, Jesus saw this, and he gets up, and he wraps the towel around his waist, and he says, "Well, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to use this to teach them a lesson, a very important lesson." Then he came to Simon Peter, and Peter said unto him, "Lord, are you washing my feet?" And Jesus answered to him and said, What I am doing you don't understand now, but you will know this later, after this. And Peter said unto him, "You shall never wash my feet." And Jesus answered him, "If I do not wash you, you have no part of me." Simon Peter said unto him, "Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head." And Jesus said, He who is bathed not only needs only to wash his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, but not all of you. For he knew that there was one that would betray him there. And therefore he said, "You are not all clean." Just a few months before, there was two men that their mother was fighting to have them sit on the right hand and the left hand of Jesus. They were so puffed up with themselves saying, I'm an important person, so I need to sit next to Christ on his right hand and his left hand. And so Jesus saw all of these apostles that were following him, and they were looking towards their own pride. Even Peter was even looking towards his own pride. Even when he got out of the boat and walked to Christ, "Let me walk on the water like you do." So they were full of pride. Now, Christ, and he had told them, if you want to be first in the kingdom, you have to be what? Last. And so here is Jesus, the master, the one that should be served, humbling himself, being last, and being the servant, and washing their feet. So what he is teaching them is the lesson he had told them. If you want to be first, be last. If you want to be important, be humble. So that's what Jesus is teaching them in this okay, I'm going to have to go to get through this here. And that day you will know that I am, and my Father, and wait, I missed this page here. So when he had washed their feet, he took his garments and sat down again and said unto them, Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you say, Well, for I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to also wash one another's feet. For I have given to you an example that you should do as I have done unto you. Most assuredly, I say unto you, a servant is not greater than the master, nor is he who is sent greater than he who sent him. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. Pay attention to the lesson you just heard. If you understand the lesson, then do them. Humble yourself and do unto others as I just did for you. I do not speak concerning all of you. I know whom I have chosen, but he in the Scripture, that the Scripture might be fulfilled. He who eats the bread with me has lifted up his heel against me. Now I tell you before it comes, that when it does come to pass, that you may believe that I am he, the Messiah. Most assuredly I say to you, he who receives whomever I send receives me, and whosoever receives me receives him who sent me. He's telling them they will be received as Christ because he's sending them. Jesus had said these things. He was troubled in his spirit and testified and said, Most assuredly I say unto you, one of you shall betray me. Then the disciples looked at one another, looking perplexed about them as he spoke. And now there was a leaning on Jesus' bosom, one of his disciples whom Jesus loved. That was who? John. Simon Peter therefore motioned to him to ask him, Who was it that he spoke of? Then leaning back against Jesus' breast, he said unto him, Lord, who is it? And Jesus answered and said, It is he whom I give this piece of bread, and I have dipped in it. And having dipped the bread, he gave it to Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon. Now a piece of bread Satan entered into him. And Jesus said unto him, What you are going to do, do quickly. But no one at the table knew for what reason he had said this to him. For some of them thought because Judas had the money box that Jesus had said, Go buy some things that we need for the feast, or that he should give something to the poor. Having received the piece of bread, he went out immediately and into the night. And when he had gone out, Jesus said, Now the Son of Man is glorified, and God glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and glorify him immediately. Little children, he still loves these apostles greatly. I shall be with you a little while longer, and you will seek me. And as I said to the Jews, where I am going, you cannot come. So I say unto you, a new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you, so that you also love one another. By this all of you shall know that you are my disciples. All will know that you are my disciples, if you show love for one another. And Simon Peter said unto him, Where are you going? And Jesus answered, Where I am going you cannot follow me, but you shall follow me afterwards. And Peter said unto him, Lord, why cannot I follow you now? Why can't I follow you now? I will lay down my life for your sake. And Jesus answered him and said, Will you lay down your life for me, for my sake? Most assuredly I say unto you, the rooster shall not crow until you have denied me 3 times.
John
Yes, sir. Pardon?
John is the one who Jesus loved. He's also the one who outran Peter to the grave.
Right. Right, okay. Okay, thank you for your kind attention. We'll pick up from